Well, welcome to West Country Wanderings. No, this isn't a Christmas in the Cotswold video. This is one of my regular Cotswold walks video. As you know, I try to do one of these once a month if I can, and try and make them a circular walk. Unfortunately, this time it isn't via public transport though. Where are we today and where are we heading to? Well, it's a beautiful but very cold morning. As you can see, we've had snowfall overnight here towards, well, I think it's just after the middle of November here. And I'm in the county of Gloucestershire this time, here in the Cotswolds. Not far from where I live actually. It's just the other side of the town of Stroud to where I live. I'm just off the A46, which is the main road between Stroud and Cheltenham. I'm in a village which I have been to before, called Cranham. Now, a few months ago, I did a walk from Painswick to Sheepscombe and back, circular walk, but I only covered part of that village. So it'll be nice to return to Sheepscombe. So I'm starting here in Cranham. I've parked my car actually at Buckshot Wood car park. There's a large wood just to the north of the village here. In fact, we'll be touching on some of it as we make our way back, because it's a completely circular walk we're doing today. I think it's about 6.5 kilometres, 7 kilometres, something like that. I'll put the map up now so you can see A, where we are, and B, where we're walking to and how. We also go through a National Trust, I think it's called Ebworth, I'm not too sure, but it's kind of edge of Cranham Woods. If you know the local area, you know exactly where I am. Not that far from the Fostons Ash pub as well, on the road towards Camp and Bisley, that kind of area. But I just literally drove off the A46, parked my car over there. I didn't want to come any further into the village because the roads are very icy, and if you know Cranham, it goes down steeply into the heart of the village and then back up the other side. I'm here, as you can probably gather, in the churchyard of Cranham Church at the moment. Beautiful sunshine. As I say, it is a little bit cold, so I'm keen to get moving and get walking. So I'm going to head down that way towards the beautiful village of Sheepscombe, following the Vale, and I think we'll see some lakes and streams as we go. I'll try and capture as much as I can of what is left of the snow. It is starting to melt now. As I parked up, there was I think it's just called snow melt, as it was melting off the trees as the sun was coming through. But yeah, it's a spectacular morning, and I hope you can join me again here on West Country Wanderings for another Cotswold Walks. Now, a footpath starts at the back of the churchyard, so you literally go through the churchyard and you'll see a footpath, and then it crosses over, I think it's like a cul-de-sac with some houses. Footpath continues on, just go very narrow there. Excuse if I'm going to be getting wet now, because it's not raining, it's just the snow melt coming off the trees, because we had a very heavy snowfall around dawn time here this morning. And it was great seeing the mistletoe there as I just approached the church there at Cranham. There was a load of mistletoe in one particular tree. I also checked out their notice board, because if you saw my original Cranham video, I'm pretty sure that was probably 18 months, 2 years ago now, you'll know it's got a couple of connections to famous people. And one of them is the composer, Gloucestershire composer, Gustav Holst, who wrote In the Bleak with Winter here to the score. Is it Rossetti, Christina Rossetti? I think she wrote the lyrics. He wrote the music to that hymn right here in Cranham. And as I saw Cranham, how it looked this morning with all the snow around it, I can just imagine how Gustav would have been inspired to write that very thing right here in Cranham. But yeah, I think it said it was being performed as well in Cheltenham Town Hall, possibly in December. Also, something else about Cranham, I'll tell you about that in a minute. Now, if you saw that Cranham video, you'll also know I'm having to watch my feet, so I'm sorry I'm not looking at the camera lens because I want to stay upright. Sorry about that, but I'll carry on talking anyway. Is Gladys's Leap, which is down here, down this slippery slope at the moment. And yes, it was all to do with the local postwoman. She had to cross over this stream to deliver the post here to the village of Cranham. She was called Gladys, and she had to take a leap over the stream, and there was a folk group, and I've forgotten the name of it now, the name of the group, Still I Span or somebody like that. I'll put it up now. They actually named an album after her in her honour of Gladys jumping over the stream here. Anyway, let's continue our walk while I can remain upright to the village of Sheepscombe here in the Cotswolds. So that's looking back towards Cranham Church, just up there on the ridge. So we've just crossed over the stream at the bottom. I've had to make a bit of a diversion because there's a house there, which has blocked the footpath. So you have to make a bit of a diversion. So I'll rewrite the route so you can see which way it is you need to go. So that's Cranham over there. That's Cranham. No, there. Cranham Common. And it said when I was walking across that from my car's way the other side of that, is that there's adders on there. But I didn't see any today. But anyway, we're going to continue up this delightful way to Saltridge Wood, which I've not been to before. So looking forward to that. And I think it's a bridleway which will take us along the top of a ridge, Saltridge Ridge, before we make our descent into the village of Sheepscombe. Well, you can certainly hear the snow melt coming off the trees. Once we go through this gate, we'll be in Saltridge Woods, which is a national nature reserve looked after by Natural England and the National Trust. Well, be warned, when you leave Cranham, there's virtually no footpath signs whatsoever. I had to speak to a farmer because it looked like I was on the right footpath, but I wasn't, and I had to make a huge U-turn, so my progress on the route isn't going very well at the moment. I'm quite a bit seriously behind time. I'm a little bit worried about lack of lights because it starts to get dark about 4:30 and it's already about 12:30. So I'm progressing on here, making my way to the top of Saltridge Hill. Hopefully there'll be some views from the top. Well, it's been quite an arduous walk so far. We've been climbing all the way to the top of Saltridge Hill, pretty much at the summit now. Can't quite see the views yet though, but it's been worth it because the walk through Saltridge Wood has been absolutely stunning. We just crossed over a couple of bridleways there. One is actually called Main Road, although it's not a road. We're going to continue along following the ridge of the hill there, and then we'll make our descent through Lord's Wood into the village of Sheepscombe. So we're now entering Lord's Wood, which is adjoined by Ladies Wood, and as the sign says there, these are some of the finest beech trees, beech woods in the entirety of Europe. Yeah, not just the Cotswolds or the West Country, but the whole of Europe. And again, they're managed by National Trust and Natural England, open access for those on foot. And there are waymarked bridleways for those on horseback. In the springtime, you can often see orchards here and the silver washed fritillary butterfly. I don't think we'll see that today though. And at this point here, in order to get to Sheepscombe, we need to take the lower path. If you follow the higher path, which isn't actually marked as a right of way, but just a grey dotted track, you can go on it though, and it'll take you to the Ebworth Centre, which is a National Trust centre on the edge of the camp. Now again, because of the ice down here, I need to watch my foot very carefully as I make my descent through Lordswood into Sheepscombe, so I'm not going to be able to film very much going down here, I'm afraid. So I've now left Lordswood, just gone through the gate here, also left the trees and also that slightly annoying tree melt, which feels like it's raining all the time top of you, onto the wonderful Sheepscombe Common, which is where I am now. So I come out into the light of Sheepscombe Common, huge open space, and we'll be crossing over this as we'll make our descent into the village. There's just something over here, it's called the Juniper Recovery Project. See if I can get a little bit closer and tell you about that. So it's a Natural England project, and we have some bare earth scrapes. So these are what are known as scrapes here. And the turf and topsoil has been removed to expose the stony ground below. Juniper seeds sown within the scrapes will increase the size and genetic diversity of the juniper population on this reserve. And because of the loose soil, it provides a nesting habitat for a host of insects and solitary mining bees, and a basking habitat for reptiles. Now, juniper is one of 3 native conifers to the UK. The others are Scots pine and yew trees, which are obviously common in churchyards, aren't they? It's a prickly evergreen shrub with short, spiky leaves, and it dates back 10,000 years. You can just see they've got a photograph of it there, and it has those very distinctive blue berries on junipers. And normally they're key in chalkland and limestone grassland, such as we have here in the Cotswolds above the village of Sheepscombe. Absolutely glorious landscape there. In the far distance over there is Painswick Church, and that's when we came to Sheepscombe last time, making our way from the town of Painswick. This time we've approached it from the north, heading in a southerly direction. We'll be making our loop back after we've had a look around the village first. So I'm now back in the delightful village of Sheepscombe, just gone past the Butcher's Arms, not sure it's home today, and the sign there says Far Sheepscombe, and this is the way we need to head to find the cricket club. Wasn't able to cover last time we were here in the village, so we'll continue along here. I'm going to then stop for some lunch before we make our return trip to the village of Cranham. So I've come around now to Sheepscombe Cricket Ground, which apparently is famous if you play cricket, and I don't, so I don't know much about it, but apparently it's a famous cricket ground. It's very scenic. It reminds me of the one at Linton in North Devon, which I'm more familiar with, and even though I'm only about 3 miles from home here, it's not easy to get to, this cricket ground. It's not marked on the map, so I'm going to mark it on the map now, so if you want to find out where it is and walk up to it, it is a bit of a trek. And in fact, you have to double back yourself towards Sheepscombe Common to find it, because it's actually above Sheepscombe Common. But yeah, very, very fine ground with stunning view. So I found this fantastic bench here at Sheepscombe Cricket Ground, facing the cricket ground and the village of Sheepscombe. It's actually dedicated to Laurie Lee, and if you read the sign, it says he likened this ground to a pony's back. I don't know that literary reference. I have done a separate video about Laurie Lee because I actually met him a couple of times when I was at primary school in Stroud. I think the first time was about right at the end of the 1960s, and again towards the middle of the 1970s, should I say. And I did that walk over the top, dropping down into the village of Slad. That's where he lived, not here in Sheepscombe, but Slad, famously going to the Carpenter's Arms there in Slad. So I'll link to that video, this one, because I know he used to like to walk over from Slad here to Sheepscombe to go to the pub here and watch cricket here at this ground as well. So I'll link to that video if you're interested, all about Laurie Lee. Regarding the walk though, it's beautiful. It has been a little bit tricky in places, I have to say, because of the conditions today. Not only the ice, but also where we've had the snow melt. It's made the ground very, very damp and wet and boggy and very slippery on the top of the clays there, particularly as I was coming down here through Johns and Lordswood even, down to the village of Sheepscombe. But the views are absolutely outstanding. I haven't seen a soul. I did speak to one farmer because I wasn't sure of the route, and I said to him it appears to be one footpath closed off as you're coming out of the village of Cranham, and he kind of knew about that. But yeah, so I'll redo the route. So although I put up the route, I'll rejig it again to show you exactly the route that I have taken, minus the U-turns. So you know that is a clear route if you want to do this route for yourself. But it's a very, very pleasant walk, really, really enjoying it. Anyway, we're going to continue on now back to the village of Cranham via Ebworth Woods, which is a National Trust wood, not a natural England we saw previously, but a National Trust woodland. And I think there's like educational centre there for children, but I'll see you in a bit. So we're now about to leave Sheepscombe Common and enter Ebworth Woods. And it does say that this particular part of Ebworth Woods is known as Workman's Wood. Maybe it was tree felling and woodland plantation, that sort of thing. So there is Sheepscombe, and there's the common, there's the cricket ground. It's marked on this map but not on my OS map. We've just come along here, so we need to go along this red route here and then that way to make our way back to the village of Cranham. Now the Sheepscombe Valley is quite some considerable distance below us. We'll be continuing to gain height, and that will happen after we leave Ebworth Woods, making it along the top of another ridge towards Cranham. So we're now looking up at the Ebworth Centre. Sorry it's a little bit burnt out because it's exposing through the darkness of the wood at the moment. We need to go around this way, following the path around there, and then when we get to the end we're going to go across the top of the ridge, following it, and then be going behind the Ebworth Centre. So there is a sign here saying Ebworth. Ebworth is a traditional Cotswold farm estate, now managed by the National Trust, perched high above both the valleys of Sheepscombe and Cranham, renowned for its majestic beech woods and protected as a National Nature Reserve. Ebworth is a secret heart of the Cotswolds, a tranquil place hidden away off the beaten track. Yes, now there is a car park here, which is really hard to describe how to get to. It's kind of have to turn right there. There we go. There's the Foston's Ash Inn. So before that, there's a turning on the right, and that will take you to the car park. But beware, it's a bumpy track, and the car park is also quite small. Well, we've got lots of thick snow here, and the reason for that is because we're at the highest point on the walk. I think we're about 277 metres above sea level, and we're making our way towards the hamlet. I think it's called Overtown. I think it's just a farm estate. Magnificent Cotswold high walled scenery here. Reminds me the other day when we were on the top of Breeden Hill, very similar landscape, but of course we got steep valleys either side of us from here. We're in this little copse here, which I don't even think has a name, on the highest part of the ward, and also looks like wood's been gathered over there in that little hummock inside the copse. But we need to make our way along this path here, following the edge of this dry Cotswold stone wall. Now glimpsing the woods at the back of Cranham village, which are called Buckshot Woods, which is kind of where I parked my car this morning. We're going to head across the fields here towards the edge of Cranham Common again before we can complete our walk today here in the Cotswolds. So this is a delightful dew pond, and it was restored in partnership with the Wildflood and Wetlands Trust, based nearby Slimbridge on the banks of the River Severn. Dew ponds were traditionally used as a water source for livestock, but of course now it's a great place for nature. I've seen some belted cattle, those Scottish cattle, isn't it, which have been dotted around. I haven't seen any in this particular field here, so originally they would have used this as a water source. But wow, this is just absolutely fantastic landscape here on the high walls of the Cotswolds. The only thing is beautiful scenery, but that wind is so biting and chilly as we're here on the highest point of the walk today. Well, this spot here with this dew pond next to me and this wonderful, like, Arctic landscape here, I think this is just the best location on the walk today. Just absolutely loving it. It is really superb. I say, apart from being cold, I'm glad I got my gloves and my hands in my pockets and my woolly hat on, my woolly fleece and scarf, yeah. But it's just absolutely fantastic. I hope you're enjoying the walk here today on this Cotswold Walk series here on West Country Wanderings. We've got about a mile, I think, to go before we trek across Cranham Common, and I'll go to the centre of the village and back to my car. But yeah, I hope you're enjoying the walk today here as well in the Cotswolds. But I couldn't have picked a more beautiful day. Could have been a little bit warmer, I guess. I think it's only about 3 or 4 degrees at the moment. The main issue, though, hasn't been the cold. It's been the slippery nature of the terrain. And I apologise, I haven't been able to do much face-to-face camera work, holding the camera while walking, because it's just been far too dangerous to do anything like that, because really had to concentrate every single tread I've made with the ice and the slippery nature of the ground with the rocks and the clay as well, which makes it a treacherous combination. So I've had to be very, very careful for that. So apologies for that. Apologies also, I've not been able to do many tripod work or showing me walking because the time limitations, I think now it's about 2:45, so we've only got about an hour and 3/4 visible daylight left really, but it's not too far, but we should be back at the car in about an hour or so. But we'll continue on back to the village of Cranham. So now I'm going to go through this gate. There is a footpath off to the right, but that's not the direction where we're going. It says actually this is a shared trail for horses, bikes and on foot, but I'm not sure about bikes. It's been very bumpy way down from that dew pond back there. But anyway, we're going to make our descent now back down into the village of Cranham from the high wolds here in the Cotswolds. Well, now on the edge of Cranham Common, it's just another little wood here, another beech wood, which kind of rings the edge of it, if you like, the southern edge, that's the word I'm looking for. And it should bring us out near Cranham Primary School. Now we're looking back at the route we've actually come down from. The wood over there on the hill is the one which was close to Ebworth. Remember, I was walking next to that Cotswold stone wall. Well, I can honestly say that's one of the most enjoyable Cotswold walks I've ever done. What are we on, 24, 25? I can't remember what number this one is here. I've enjoyed them all, don't get me wrong, but I think it's the combination of the light, the sunlight, the snow on the ground, the crisp air and the outstanding scenery with the last remains of the autumnal colours in those fantastic beechwoods around Ebworth, in both on the edge of Sheepscombe and Cranham. And you've got two delightful Cotswold villages as well, both unspoilt, Sheepscombe and Cranham villages. Very, very traditional Cotswold villages, not full of the celebrities. Well, there's probably one or two. I think, what was she called? I think Lily Allen lived in this one here, Cranham, but I don't think she still does. I know her father lives nearby in Stroud, but that's another story. But yeah, it's not been dominated by the celebrity set here, which is great. It's proper Cotswold traditional, which is what we like, I think. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this walk today. I will amend the map because I did have a little wrong U-turns and there was that little block path. It wasn't a major obstacle, but it was a little bit frustrating at the start. But I'll correct the map, and as usual, I'll put a link to that map in the description of today's video. So if you want to do this walk, it's taken me a little while to do it today. It's taken me a best part of 6 hours. That's allowing for a half-hour lunch break at Sheepscombe cricket ground there, and also for photography, pieces to camera, walking backwards, that sort of thing. But the main thing that slowed me down today is the conditions underfoot, because it's been so icy, so wet, so slippery. I think on a nice day it would be entirely feasible to do this walk in 3 hours or less. So yeah, there we go. So as I say, it's taken me 6 hours today, but it's been most enjoyable. Still got the edge of the sunlight left, just clipping those trees there, just highlighting the last bit of the autumnal colours. I hope you enjoyed it today here in West Country on one of my Cotswold walks. Now we're in November, I'm filming this. It's not the end of the year yet. I do hope to bring you another one in December. I think last time I went out and filmed one on Boxing Day. I did a circular walk from the town of, well, village, should I say, Bolton on the Water, hoping it was going to be quiet. It wasn't. It was absolutely rammed like it always is. But hopefully there'll be something in December here in the Cotswolds. Until then, take care of yourselves, look after yourselves, and I hope to see you on the channel again very, very soon. All the best for now. Bye-bye.